over here.
Here we are.
Oh, need to realign my chakras. Oh, oops. Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Thursday.
The staff has prepared a traditional hunt.
The release of the humans!
Did you catch the scent?
What? Lead me!
No, I'm not a bloodhound.
You can catch the scent from these.
No, I'm not gonna touch that.
FX's What We Do in the Shadows. 2 episodes season finale. Thursday at 10 on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Don't sing if you want to live long. They have no use for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead and out of this world.
You're listening to League Podcast, the Vampire Council, a What We Do in the Shadows podcast, season 5, episode 9 and 10. What were the names of these episodes? A Weekend at Morrigan Manor was episode 9. Episode 10 was Exit Interview, which I think is a fun name and a funny episode. But we should go in order, or unless you just have general comments. Clay?
Yeah, well, I was waiting for the traditional
Sorry,
500 episodes in where you say who you are.
I completely forgot to do that. I'm Matt Dursin.
Clay Inferno here.
All right.
I'm not comfortable making comments until after I say Clay Inferno here.
I'm sorry. The whole vampire count. The intro is very long, but that's who we are. So thank you for listening to us. So here we are. This is the end of season 5 of What We Do in the Shadows, and
2 episodes at once.
I know
That's why the intro was so long. You know.
That's right. 2 episodes, and they started the season off this way too. I think, right? Didn't they?
That they did.
Yeah,
that they did.
It's a crazy thing.
We have less episodes of the podcast when it turns out. It's the way we've been doing it, but I mean that's fine. It's fine. It could be a while before we return, so we just have to keep the faith, as they say.
No, it could be a while. Like there could be the strike and everything. It could be a while. My God, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But at least we had this. So, like, I just want to say before we get too far into this, I was reading some recaps and reviews and stuff of this. There's
interesting.
It's kind of.
I tend to stay away from the media about this show.
Well, I would
love to hear what people were saying.
I was literally doing it today, so it's not like I was, doing a deep dive or anything. I was kind of just reviewing because I watched the episodes like a while ago, but now so I needed a little refresher. So there's a lot of, or at least in the few things that I read, there seems to be talk and in the fandom and in the reviews that like What We Do in the Shadows, the show, likes to kind of just hit the reset button at the end of every season.
Yeah, I've been saying that too.
Yeah, we've been saying that too. But some people think it's sort of a criticism. They're kind of like, oh, it's all just a big nothing because they all just go back.
Oh, boo-hoo. These reviewers just don't have anything to write about. What a stupid gripe. What a dumb thing to be complaining about.
Well, I don't know if it's the reviewers or the fans or whatever, but yeah, that's the thing that people. And I remember there was one a couple seasons ago. I think that I was kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? They just went right back. But it was more in the first. It was the after everybody sort of separated, right? So it was 2 seasons ago, and like Nadja and Guillermo went to London, right? And Nandor got on the train, and he would just go off.
Yep. That was a good cliffhanger.
That was a good cliffhanger, and then they came back the first episode of the next season, and just kind of like everybody's back, and I was a little disappointed at that, but I don't have a problem with the finale being the reset. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So,
right. So I guess it's like the end of the comic book, or the end of the comic book page, or the end of the comic book volume before there's the next trade paperback. So it's like you can either have the big thing happen on that last page or 2 pages, or you can wait and do the reset when the next volume comes out. I guess it's like 50-50 shot.
I guess. I mean, I suppose I'm just saying I'd rather have it on the last page of the last couple pages of the comic than have it just wrap up on page 1 of the next trade. But you're right. I mean, whatever. It's they can do whatever they want.
And but the last two here, we've gotten Colin Robinson and what happens here. So you did like this.
I did. Absolutely. But we'll get there. First, we have to talk about. I want to talk about. Well, we got to go in order here. Episode 9, Weekend at Morrigan Manor. Do you know what a Morrigan is by any chance?
I have a feeling you do. Why don't you tell me?
Anybody who's listening, it doesn't know what a Morrigan is. Here, it's a great warrior queen goddess in Irish Celtic mythology. She was most associated with inciting war and then stirring up the fury and frenzy of battle, and finally as the bringer of death. So it's like a Irish
god of war, basically.
Goddess, warrior queen. Yeah, goddess of war and death and all that great stuff.
Good research, good knowledge drop.
Yeah, I just
so natural. It's like you knew it by heart.
No, I read it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said Irish Catholic. But Irish Catholic is a thing that people are. So. But I was glad to hear that. I was just I like when they delve into other, not just vampires, as we've talked about many times on this show.
Well, I looked up something. Not like that, but I looked up something earlier when the vampires say they might go watch a movie, and somebody goes, "The Brothers McMullen."
Oh.
I was like, "What is that show?"
Do you remember that movie?
I guess it's like a coming of age story. It came out in the 90s.
Oh my god! Here we go. You want me to get into this?
If you'd like, yeah, go ahead. You're the movie guy.
The Brothers McMullen was it's not really coming of age necessarily, but sort of. I guess it's sort of more of it was kind of a I wouldn't say a rom-com because it wasn't that funny, although I think it was supposed to be. But Ed Burns. So in the early 90s, this is when Clerks and not Desperado, El Mariachi, and like guys are making their own movies a lot, and Ed Burns got some money from his dad and made this movie on his own dime, basically. And it was like he filmed it in his dad's house.
Am I supposed to remember who Ed Burns is? Let's start there.
What? No, only for this movie, I guess. And then he did another.
I guess he's in Saving Private Ryan.
He's in Saving Private Ryan, and he's in a show now.
Oh, okay. This is classically handsome American actor.
Yeah. He was like a young filmmaker with a dream, It's about 3 brothers, and they have to move back to their mom's house for whatever reason. Their mom decides she's going to go back to Ireland, and so they have this empty house, and they're all going to live there. And so all the brothers have varying degrees of romantic problems, and then they all kind of
and they're all living in a house together.
Yeah,
much like the vampires, perhaps.
Kind of like maybe that's the connection there.
Yeah, but
it's not very. At the time, I thought it was cool because I was a young film or would-be filmmaker, I guess. Let's say you know what I mean. But he was doing what I wanted to do, right? Make a movie with his friends.
Much in the same sort of I'm not saying Ed Burns is an influence on you, but kind of like how, even though I wasn't a filmmaker, Kevin Smith was an inspiration sort of to me. All these guys were doing cool stuff. We're oh, imagine what I'll be later in life.
Right.
But
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Except I won't have to go through the hardship that he went through. I'm just gonna be famous.
I'm just gonna do it. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be cast as Robin in the Batman sequels. So
that's right. Of course. The funny thing was, apparently he ran into Robert Redford in an elevator or something and shoved a VHS in his face, and then Robert Redford watched it and got him into Sundance. Sundance is the Robert Redford one. And that's how anybody knows who Ed Burns is today, which you did not, but some people maybe do.
Well, it's not like I don't recognize him. It just his name is very generic, and we're from Boston, North Dakota. It's Ed Burns is every other person on the street I live on here.
I know, it's crazy. Anyway, that's funny that they made that reference. Yeah, because Brothers McMullen. Here's the funny thing. Because I still have cable. I was scrolling through the movie channels, and it was on one night, and it looks. I think we've talked about this before, but it's so funny. A movie from the early '90s kind of looks like it was from the 50s. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
grainy quality of the film.
Yeah. Yeah, because he probably didn't shoot it on the whatever big fancy,
Oh, it was shot on whatever, whatever film he could get. Even so, I'll say like Kevin Smith was smart to shoot Clerks in black and white because physically that ages better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you watch Clerks now, you're like, oh, it's a fun little movie.
Yeah.
But if you watch Brothers McMullen, you're like, look at this old grainy, it looks like some of his home movies, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
Totally.
anyway, good reference, good callback there to Brothers McMullen.
That was the only other thing I looked up. So I was just trying to compete with you that you looked up the man
What a
name.
Morrigan is.
Yeah.
All right, so this is weird. It's rare for them to get out of the house, right? It kind of not necessarily out of the house, but because they go places around Staten Island. But this is out. So they all say they've been invited by this. Was it Perdette Morrigan?
Yeah. Well, the setup is that the guide comes in and says, "Are you coming to our my art show? I have an art show tonight." They're all like, "Oh yeah, no, not really, no." And they all kind of like give a major blow off in their own special way.
I know. Nadja's is the best. She said, "I saw some art last year, so I'm good."
Yeah. Well, that's later that she says that.
Oh, is that?
Still, but still,
right.
she does. Yeah.
Blow off.
Total blow off. And she's like, "Well," and the guy knows that this isn't gonna work, anyways. So she's like, "Oh, by the way, you got this. You got this note from
this Morrigan person. Yeah, I forget her first name, right?
Yeah, like
something like that. I forget her first. It's got a really weird first, but she's the most. It's like she's like a vampire, right?
Like a societal vampire.
Yeah.
And she came over on the Mayflower, and that she blamed the cold on most of the people that died that first year on 1620 or whatever when the Pilgrims landed.
Yes, 1620. Very good, very good. But in fact, she was the one who killed them all.
Yeah.
But she blamed it
on the cold winter. So she's like a legend, and they get invited to like her house for the weekend.
Yeah, the best part, I think the best line about the Nandor says she once invited a party that was like so exclusive, or no, the party was so exclusive that no one was invited.
Yeah, they show a picture of her like in the big empty house.
Yeah, they drive up to this place. The guide is there, and she has brought the artwork. She's still trying to get them to just give her any kind of, just throw her a bone. And our artwork is all pictures of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're still not interested in it. So it's kind of like, so I think then the guy's like, like it's all a big setup, or eventually we find out it's all a big setup because Morrigan, what's her name? She's not there. She leaves this old tape recording to say like, oh,
I'm sorry I couldn't be there to greet you, but be careful, and kind of like not really exactly like Clue, but more like an escape room. They're kind of like sort of like, be careful, the manor is very treacherous. And only Guillermo's the one that says like, is anybody worried about this place being treacherous?
Yeah, right.
And Nandor's like, no, it's time to slumber. And by the way, Guillermo, get our bags out and unpacked.
I know.
Before sunrise.
Still still just the familiar. But like, I love like they sort of have this kind of old school, I guess, I don't know, Agatha Christie or almost, or as Colin Robinson references Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, certainly a glass onion.
Yeah. We should also point out Colin Robinson has decided to grow a mustache.
Yeah, that he says that they're like, is that a press on? He's like, no, I have to shave 3 times a day. My undercarriage, my balls, everywhere.
My undercarriage. Oh, so gross. But his mustache, like eventually he turns into one of those curly Q ones.
Yeah, like a Hercule Poirot. Or our favorite from Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Knives Out mystery.
I don't know. I thought Knives Out was superior to Glass Onion. I don't know. We can talk about that later, I guess.
But yeah, like
okay.
The Colin is he's taking on the sort of the Poirot or even Sherlock Holmes
right.
Watson. He goes, haha, the game is afoot. He keeps like dropping these like
I know.
tropey like lines from mysteries.
I know. It's so funny. So one of my favorite scenes, I guess, is Laszlo goes into this room and he's sort of practicing fencing with this masked person, and then like and then there's two of them, and then there's like
With a dummy though, no.
Yeah.
So he's
Right.
like playing with the dummy,
Yeah.
and he's like talking a lot of shit to the dummy, and then the guide comes in and is like, "Do you want a fencing partner?" And then she puts her shield down, and then obviously they have the stunt person in the guide's outfit do all these parries and stuff, and Laszlo's just like, "No, I prefer to just practice with my dummy here." And she's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" And then yes, I much prefer the dummy. And then she leaves, and then he turns around, and his dummy, in just classic like camera work, is now a person with a sword and whole like masked out. Yeah.
I believe.
Like, I guess probably maybe, like a wraith like person in there, perhaps.
Yeah, Laszlo seems unfazed by this, which is really classic Laz. But yeah, so yeah, he kind of, I love like it's obviously dubbed because Matt Berry is not doing all this fencing, but it's still funny because he's making all these like Errol Flynn type of quips and things like ha ha ha, like and whatever.
The rope a dope. Well, we didn't mention that they keep multiplying, so it ends up there's like 8 or 16 by the end.
Yeah, him against all of them. Yeah, and by the end they all get him. But the scene is really funny because he keeps like it's like this sort of swashbuckling kind of like, on guard, you. But yeah, they finally
like obviously like overplayed the fact that they were doing a voiceover.
Right. I mean,
bad dub. Like it's so totally on purpose and so funny because Matt Berry is hilarious.
Yeah, no, they play it up.
I learned that in Afghanistan. I learned that in Germany.
I mean, like it's dubbed, but it's still that's what makes it so funny, But yeah, so eventually they overcome him, and we don't see Laszlo again for a while, and then we see Colin Robinson and Nandor are playing chess, and neither one of them know how to play. And I think he's like, so the horsey guy goes 3 up and 1 to the right or whatever. Like they're trying to figure out chess, which it's hilarious to me that Nandor is like whatever he is, 1,500 years old and still doesn't know how to play chess. But
they all had enough time to learn how to play chess.
Exactly. So they're playing chess. Guillermo's still a little worried about the whole treacherous thing, but Nadja comes in and says, "Does anyone know where Laszlo is?" And nobody seems to really care. They're like, he's off.
And the guide said that he's in the belfry, and that's when Nadja goes, "Oh, leave it to my horny little Laszlo to go find like the local bordello as soon as he could."
I know. So like the guide is leading her up there, and then it's kind of like it's an obvious by this point. It's pretty obvious that the guide is behind all this, but even though she's still kind of like pretending that maybe for the documentary crew, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I wanted to talk more about the guide thing, but we'll talk about it after this episode's over.
Oh, all right, very good. But anyway, like Nadja, Nadja falls down, and she is also captured. I forget actually. I know Nandor and Guillermo go on a hunt. Nandor wants to go hunting.
Yeah, that was part of what the manor lady said, is that they prepared a hunt for you.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock or something, and I couldn't tell. Is it just like somebody hired like the college to go streaking through the quad, like
they're all just
like people. In old school,
Maybe that was.
Think KFC's still open? Snoop-a-loop. You can bring your green hat.
Yeah, so like he wants Guillermo to follow them like a bloodhound, and he's like, I don't really do that.
Because he's showing him the jocks, this dirty, gross
like, smell this
straps.
and then go find them. He's like, I don't really do that. Like, even though like there's kind of I don't even know if it's an insinuation, or it's kind of coming around saying it that like because Guillermo is gay, that he would somehow like, sniffing he said something about like, sitting in his bed watching Bravo or something like that. I forget, but The funny thing to me is there's only 2 credited, and if you go to IMDb, there's only 2 actors credited with Naked Human. There's Naked Human 1 and then Naked Human 2. So I don't know if maybe they were the only ones who had lines. Maybe they were just streaming.
Yeah,
I don't know how that worked. Or
I
maybe
guess
they
they're
were
just extras, right? I don't know if you
they
put
somehow
them in the
right.
in
if
all
you're
the
an
credits.
extra,
If you're an
you don't-
extra.
Yeah. But anyway, so they're all running around, yeah, and Nandor is gonna hunt them, but he gets caught as well in a net.
Well, no, but the guide is also trapped outside
Well,
in a
yes.
bear claw, in like one of those big bear traps you see on Bugs Bunny. And the guide is out there. She is the trap for Nandor.
Right.
Even though the streaking is going on, because she goes, can you help me out of this, please? And Nandor's like, yeah, I just need to find a stick. I need to find a stick. But then when the humans are starting to run back over, he goes, oh no, they've teamed up and they're gonna be able to catch me now. And she's like, are you still gonna help me? And he's like, I'm not. And he just runs away. But that's when he runs away, he gets caught in
Right.
one of those big nets,
It's like the
Bugs
Ewok
Bunny style.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ewok. Yeah,
He does get like they do lean pretty heavily. I mean, like they've done all season on like that the guide is sort of this someone that they ignore a lot. They even did like a sort of a clip show kind of thing, which is fine. Like, but they didn't really have to do that. I think that's been the running gag the whole.
well, that's what I want to talk about. Should we just talk about it now?
Sure, because after this, the episode takes like a turn.
Yeah. So, well, I'll do the Colin Robinson one. So Colin Robinson is in the house, and Guillermo walks in and is like, "Where's Nandor? And where is everybody?" And Colin's like, then he goes, "Oh, what a predictable." He's totally doing his like Perot or like Agatha Christie Knives Out thing. He's like, what a predicament we find ourselves in. And he's like, we're kind of grilling Guillermo in a way a character would do in one of those shows. And so him and Guillermo have this hilarious back and forth because I see that you've lured us all here, Guillermo, because we know your secret, and we, to keep it from Nandor. And so Guillermo just does goes through the logic of the fanboy logic thing, kind of like, why would I kill Nandor as well as kill everybody if I've killed all of you? That doesn't make any sense. And then they basically go back and forth for a little while, and then Colin goes, oh, maybe I missed a clue. And then he goes, he goes, is it something to do where the last person alive gets to inherit this house? And Carol's like, no. He's like, oh, even as I was saying it, it didn't sound right. Oh, okay, never mind. So he just kind of resigns himself to being this annoying detective, but he actually has no insight. Like when he sits there to play chess, neither of them know how to play.
I know. They sat down to play chess and neither one knew the rule. But I do love all the references. I mean, yeah, inheriting a house is a total thing that every mystery has done, and they did it, I guess, in Knives Out too, right? It's just so
yeah. But the guide has come in, gotten herself out of the bear trap and is gushing blood, and she says this whole thing about how, do you know what it's like to be an outsider? Nobody is nice to you, and blah blah blah. And she's saying that to Guillermo, and that is literally Guillermo's whole entire story. So he goes, yeah, and then the guide for the first time kind of cuts him off in the same way that Laszlo's been cutting her off or whatever. It's just no, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to him. And she points at Colin Robinson, and he goes, what? And he's confused, and she goes, oh, well, they can't all be clever. And she opens a box. Yeah. It's a big old Staples button, and he just falls through into his trap, his particular trap. She has now trapped all the vampires.
Yep, that's the end result. She has trapped them all in these silver cages. So they are they are unable to get out.
And they're in also a very Munsters kind of dungeon of this place. It looks like it could be in Frankenweenie, or it could be in the Munsters. It just looks like a high to low to mid budget trauma film, silver cages in this mysterious castle. You know what I mean? Like the set design on this particular episode was really cool. But
Well, yeah, I agree. But it's also very similar to like they were trapped in cages. What was that, season 2, I guess, or whatever it was, where Guillermo was revealed to have Van Helsing blood and whatever.
yeah,
Yeah. But they also once they found that out, they trapped him in a big cage. You remember that?
yeah. It's just...
There
oh,
was a
did you
precedent.
feed me any stinky pickles? But okay, so now that now that all the vampires are trapped, including Colin Robinson, who is a vampire, now they're all trapped by the guide. So this is what I want to talk to you about the guide. I actually have to give you credit because back when we were talking about the roast, I thought that when the guide turned to the Baron and told the Baron the secret about Guillermo, and that she really revealed other things, I thought that was her kind of playing dumb. And you were kind of making the point that no, she was like telling him on purpose. And I just have to say that you were right, I was wrong.
Wow.
Because I guess they have been sort of laying this all out, but I just thought that, and kind of how they end with her like sort of being forgiven in a weird way, but like I just thought that she wasn't exactly playing dumb. She was like strategizing this whole time, but I didn't really see it coming.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know if I saw it coming, but I mean, I didn't expect her to turn. I mean, they could have gone two ways, right? They could have gone with her like what they did in this episode, where she was, like sort of came back around and finally tried to get them notice her in a way, like, oh, you didn't want to pay attention to me. Well, now you're gonna have to, because you're just locked in cages.
Yeah.
But they could have just literally gone the entire, I don't know, it's interesting because like they could have gone the whole thing with her never being noticed, and it would have been
like when you hit the reset button, she's always gonna be ignored.
But it's funny because this season now she's in the credit, you know what I mean? She's in the credits at the beginning of the show now. She has like she's a feature regular.
Series regular or whatever you call it. Yeah.
But they could have just done it like literally she's always kind of just in the background, or not in the background, but like she's always just being like, like no one pays attention to her. So they could have gone either way. They chose this one. I don't want to say I saw it coming, but it seemed like, she was not okay with it.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't giving her really any credit.
Right.
You were at least giving her some credit. That's all I'm saying.
Well, there was like a couple of times, a couple of like looks that she would give, to the camera, which they do sometimes, where she would just kind of like, you knew that she didn't, like it, but I don't know.
But then she has the whole so when the vampires are trapped, she does, reveal to Nadja that there's not actually a curse.
Yes, there's no hex. That was just to try to get her to be nice.
Yeah, that's really funny.
It's hilarious. So Nadja's actually pretty happy about that the hex doesn't exist. She can just go back to being an asshole to everyone. So during the course of this, it is not only is that bit of truth revealed that the hex doesn't exist, finally comes out the big secret, the whole season that this, has been going on, the storyline this whole season. Guillermo was turned by Derek.
Yeah, and the guide has this information, and she's the one that totally is the one ultimately that betrays Guillermo in this situation.
Well, she's like
my
guys.
Yeah, it's like another final, villain twist of the mustache. Even though Colin Robinson's twist of the mustache was way funnier.
It is,
because that's when he goes, "Oh, it's quite a glass onion," when all this stuff is getting revealed. But yeah, she's like, my whole plan is not revealed. I have this to say.
At some point, I don't even remember what, I think it's in this scene, but when does Colin Robinson say something? I didn't have that on my 2023 bingo card.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What an annoying thing to say.
Yep. Yeah, he says that in the same scene.
He's always draining. Colin Robinson's always working.
Yeah, he's like Well, and also too, like when the guy comes in at the beginning of the episode and goes, "Oh, sour cream's on sale at the Safeway or whatever," and then when the guide is trying to tell people about her paintings and everything, Laszlo's just like, "Oh, so you were the one that painted them? Tell me more about that sour cream sale."
Yeah, how's that sour cream sale? Yeah, they can't even eat. But anyway, yeah. So it is revealed, Guillermo, and so this is like Nandor and Guillermo have a real sort of like moment here because Nandor kind of acts like he didn't know that. He's like, you could have just asked me. He's like, I tried for 13 years to get you to turn me into a vampire.
Yeah, and he's like, I was going to get around to it, but I have a lot on my plate right now.
Yeah, it's like a lover's quarrel. You know what I mean? Like,
oh
like
yeah,
you got caught cheating. You know, now what do you like? It's crazy. It's hilarious. I love it. You know, so I love their talk. But Nandor definitely, it's like a switch. You know, like turning a light switch off. Like he is completely different. You kind of feel like he would kill Guillermo in a second. You know, like,
yeah, I think so. I think so for sure.
So it's interesting because the character is usually he's so dumb, just so like, and he's still dumb, but like obviously offended him. And yeah, so the episode ends with Guillermo flying away, or as a bat, just he's out of there. And it's kind of like a cliffhanger. And it's weirdly enough, it's only in the post-credit sequence did we reveal how they even got out of the cage. Right?
Oh yeah, which is because yeah. But they say, "Oh no, we do love you." And then Laszlo says to the camera crew, November 21st, 2022, play the tapes from there.
Yeah.
And for some reason Laszlo can remember this date. As the one time they were saying very nice things to the camera crew about the guide.
Right.
But so you explained the post-credit scene.
No, I don't even remember it. I just read that.
So, okay, so
it's more about Colin Robinson, though, right? Again, I don't even remember.
Well, yeah, okay. So, as a refresher,
yes,
it's a very funny joke. So and then at a certain point when the guide is watching the documentary crew's camera, Laszlo goes, "Okay, you can shut it off there. She's seen enough, right?"
Right.
So credits play. They play an awesome song by this band called Bitch.
Nice.
That I like immediately like looked up and like saved to like my playlist.
Nice.
And it's called like Damnation Highway or something like that. Anyways, I was like, this is a rocking song. But so cut to the tail end, what they were saying after that, which was it's Colin Robinson going, you know, because it's the clip that the guy had seen said Nandor was like, "Oh, that all the time I was looking for a bride. You know, she was right under my nose. She's just so nice." And like Laszlo's like, "And she's got a fantastic ass," and blah blah blah. But what happens after the post-credit scene is they say, Colin Robinson goes, you know, basically like, "I really like the guide and everything, but it sounds like you guys are trying to get me to hook up with her so that I'll move out of here."
Oh, that's right.
So it was like this whole thing where it's like they were like saying really nice things about her, but
just
because
to try to get him to move out,
to try to like to try to get them to hook up so that you would move out. And of course they're like, no, that's not it. But Laszlo remembered that was the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty good. He got the date right. That song is called "Damnation Alley" by Bitch, just so you know.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's a great tune.
All right. So, all right, but that's how the penultimate, as we like
that's
to say.
episode 9. Let's move on to episode 10.
Episode 10, the ultimate, I guess, the finale. And this might be one of my favorite episodes of the show. It's actually
really?
like it's great. It's hilarious. There's a lot of like heart almost. I don't want to, not really. So Guillermo is living in a motel, like a Fleabag kind of motel.
It's called Havana with a P at the end, so it's like have a nap.
Yeah, have a nap.
Motel.
Motel, yeah. So he's living there. Derek is supposedly the only person who knows he's there, but as the episode goes along, everyone comes to visit because
Right.
Derek is stupid and basically tells them. But yeah, so he's there hiding out. Oh, and this is maybe where he says he watches a lot. They don't have Bravo, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Mad they don't have Bravo at the motel. But like he asks Derek to bring him raw meat, and the meat is cooked, and he's mad, but whatever.
And then he like is like really threatening and a jerk to Derek, and he's like, "Okay, buddy, can you like go get me some raw meat that hasn't been cooked? Okay, buddy, okay, buddy." And by this time, Nadja has shown up in kind of like a Jessica Rabbit disguise. You know, she's got like or Eddie Valiant disguise, really, because it's like a trench coat and a hat, and she's like, "I did some detective work, see?"
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love her voice there. Yeah, she's trying. Yeah, she's like.
But then she says you can't talk to the vampire that turned you that way, because if something happens to that idiot, then you're gonna die. So you have to be nice to him, just like we were nice to the sire and the baron.
Right, right. But meanwhile, while they're having this conversation, the room next to Guillermo's room, there's two people clearly having sex in there. They're just like screaming, and like it's banging on the the headboard is probably banging the wall or whatever. It's very loud, and Nadia's kind of distracted, and she's like, "Oh, I'll take care of this," and she goes, and then like we do a confessional kind of thing with Guillermo, and he's talking about like Nadja, and he's like, and she clearly joined them because like she's having sex with them.
Yeah. She went over there to tell him to keep it down. She just joined it.
And then she just joined it. I assumed she went over. I thought she was going to just go and, kill them.
Well, I was thinking maybe she did kill him after.
Oh, maybe afterwards, yeah. But she had a little fun first, I guess. So I don't even remember the exact order, but literally, I guess Laszlo comes next, right? I don't remember. But they all come one by one. So Laszlo comes, and it's the same kind of thing, like, but he wants to keep it. He doesn't want anyone to know, because if Nandor finds Guillermo, he will kill him.
Yeah.
Right? So, and we find out Nandor is doing like a total Batman kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
By the way,
he shuts the door. You are satisfied with the amount of toilet paper you have in here?
Yeah,
we're leaving now. And he shuts the door and closes it behind him.
Pretending, yeah. He's like, all right, and he's like, turn up the volume so that no one can hear us. And he puts on the TV, and it's like porn. And Laszlo is like completely distracted by the porn on the TV. And he's like, oh, hold on a moment. So like, but they're all kind of there to say their goodbyes, like.
Yeah. And there's the exit interview. The titular Colin Robinson shows up with a tape recorder and says, I'm here to conduct your exit interview for being a familiar.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of funny jokes, and just like, so how much do you get paid for that? He's like, I don't get paid.
I never got paid.
He goes, do you think we can get away with not paying the next familiar?
Yeah, Colin Robinson's not really there. He doesn't show a lot of sympathy to Guillermo, but he's
like, I'm gonna make this quick because I know your time is valuable, because you won't be alive that much longer. He's just like dragging it out, and then he goes, "Congratulations!" in front of the documentary crew, and does like those like staged like handshake like pose photos for some reason.
Well, I love the other line. Let me see if I can find it, because I kept it. The idea was that Derek told everybody where Guillermo was, but Colin Robinson said he found out from what is it like?
Oh, I remember what it was.
Yeah, he's like, I put down a map of Staten Island and looked and like cross-reference all the Arby's locations and sweater shops or something like that. And that's how he found where he was.
And he goes, I'm not near any of these things. He goes, I know. I just asked Nadja where you were.
Oh, that's what it was. You're right. But I just like the idea of the sweater shops. That just
sweater shops and Arby's.
Yeah. Arby's and sweater. Arby's, a party store, or a sweater shop. Those are the three.
And meanwhile, actually, Nandor, speaking of maps, Nandor has been out. I guess he would be the last one that we haven't talked about.
Oh, well, there's one. I didn't want to mention the guy.
No, the guy. Okay. but
She shows
Nandor
up
is
in
out.
the-
Nandor is out looking for, looking for, looking for Guillermo, like hunting in the night. And I've been watching a lot of vampire stuff, and I was even complaining a little bit this season about like, just is there going to be any vampire stuff in this because of like watching Blade and Interview with the Vampire TV show, and like Nandor's like up on top of this building with the moon behind him, and he's like out hunting, but he's just out hunting at the Panera Bread
Yeah.
to see if he could
that he-
find where Guillermo is. But go on, yeah. No, talk
knows
about the
that-
guide at the
Oh
hotel
yeah, the
room,
guide shows up with all the hybrid creatures from
which you said they would come back. Another thing I didn't think they were going to come back.
I had a feeling this episode, especially this episode, but the show brings back a lot of people. And yeah, like they're no less creepy than they were in their previous appearance. These are really creepy things, and they're all just like, "Hi, hi, Guillermo.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey,
I'm
Dad."
going
Yeah.
to a big farm upstate.
Right.
And then the dog Guillermo is like reading like like old like impressionist like death poetry or something from the 30s
It's
about
so
life
weird.
and death.
I mean, it's so nice. She's trying to sort of cheer them up, but
Yeah,
cheer
and
'em
she
up.
has a card that says like sorry for the loss, and she wrote on the front of it, sorry for your loss of your life.
Yeah, I know they're so like, they're doing their best, I guess, right? Like these characters are not good at sympathy.
Yeah, well, also he says, like, what if I wrote Nandor a letter to Nadja, and Nadja says, well, maybe if you wrote a suicide note and then followed through with it, that would save him a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that might work. I would say. But yeah, so like they're not that sympathetic, but they're they did go to visit. So meanwhile, yeah, Nandor is casing out the Panera Bread, and he thinks he sees Guillermo, and he goes down, and it's Patton Oswalt. I mean, like,
Great
talk
fucking
about-
cameo. Perfect, like pitch perfect, really.
I mean, I don't want to borrow that phrase. I wouldn't have had that on my bingo card either. Like of all the people to make a guest appearance.
Right. Didn't have that on my 2023 bingo card.
What a great! I mean, that is perfect. I almost get the feeling that Patton Oswalt is like, "Can I be on your show?" or something like that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
sure.
He's like the
Yeah.
type who would just be like, "Hey, can I make a guest appearance?"
Yeah, I mean, he's probably like friends with at least,
yeah.
Kristen Shaw. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I'm sure he is friends with Kristen Shaw. You're right. I mean, what a great things. But I love the fact they kind of just are making fun of his weight, because he looks like Guillermo he's kind of a round fellow.
Yeah, and then he's like, he's like telling him his name. He's like, I'm an actor, and he tells Nandor's like, well, what have you been in? And he's like, Ratatouille.
Yeah,
It's
like
animated.
Ratatouille.
He goes,
Like, well, I
I
get the
prefer
voice.
live action. And then he's like, do you know John Slattery? Like, no, I don't know him personally, but he seems like a cool guy.
John Slattery. That was hilarious. What a great callback. Even though it was only a few episodes ago, it's still one of those
No,
things.
it's
that you
so
kinda
good.
just- yeah.
It's so good.
But so they have a nice little heart to heart up there. Like, and he's like, well, maybe you don't, and like he's trying to convince him not to kill his friend. Because like Nandor kind of was like, well, I want to kill my friend or whatever. And he's like, well, maybe you shouldn't kill him. You should just have a talk with him. And he talks about forgiveness and whatever.
You
and-
should try to repair the friendship.
Yeah.
You missed the part where they actually went into Panera Bread and
Oh,
had a
that's right,
conversation in there too.
I know.
But that
was
didn't
great.
make, it's just that happened. That they do
Yeah.
most of the talking up on the roof there after, because he's got his to-go coffee cup from Panera.
That's right. Well, there is also the Patton Oswalt says, well, there's another one, just a few, because it's kind of making fun of the fact that they're like Paneras and Starbucks and
Yeah, and
shit on every
yeah,
corner.
Nandor doesn't know that there's more than one Panera Bread, so he's like, are you sure he was at this one? Because Nandor's like, I know he'll, like a gazelle to his watering hole, he'll return to Panera Bread. Pat,
Yeah.
like they're all over the place.
I think does Patton Oswalt even mention he likes the bread bowls? or
Yeah,
something
he's
like that?
Nandor's like, how is your food? And and it has a funny name, like the turkey bacon baby, yeah, it's so good. I usually get the bread boiled, and then like Nandor like kind of hypnotizes, or he like squishes his hands, and he's like,
Oh,
"We're here to talk about me."
right. I mean, it is pretty hilarious. Just sort of making fun of Panera in a way, but also kind of liking Panera. You know, like
I'm sure Patton loves eating Panera
yeah,
bread
he
too.
probably does. So it's they're back up on the roof, and he's got his to-go cup, like you mentioned. They're having a little heart to heart, and then Nandor kicks him off the roof, like, like
Yeah,
then,
because he says like something about, I've just explained to you like this this tale of betrayal, and your suggestion is that I don't kill him, that I forgive him. And he's like, and then he kicks him off the roof, and then typical dumb Nandor vampire fashion kind of turns around after he's killed Patton Oswalt.
yeah,
Like looks up at the moon and he's like, I guess he has a point.
I know, like when it's too late, obviously. Maybe Patton Oswalt won't be making another. I say a lot of people come back. I'm not sure that Patton Oswalt will be back, but you never know.
You know,
He did kick him off the roof.
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get
We'll
there.
get
So
there.
this next part, though, like it gets a little sinister. I feel like so
Oh yeah.
he goes to, well, we don't know. Like Guillermo gets a call from his mom, but it's not his mom. It's Nandor calling on his mom's phone. So like this is what I mean. Like Nandor has become kind of, you almost get this idea like he's kind of evil. You know, like this is, he always talks about this warlord kind of person that he was.
Yeah.
And this is kind of it. Like he says, Guillermo, we need to talk. And he's at his mother's house, you know, and like he's kind of hypnotized her or something into, or just wants to look at baby pictures or something. It's really weird. But so then Guillermo like goes immediately to his mom's house apartment, which we saw earlier in the season when he went to go say goodbye.
Yep.
Yeah.
He kept coming by.
Yeah, that's right. He came by a lot because he couldn't say goodbye. And it turns out like Nandor is not there to, but they have like this confrontation, and you think, oh my God, they're gonna like his Guillermo has like a wooden stake, you know, and he's gonna, it's like a total,
Yeah, because he wants to protect his mom.
right. It's a total Lost Boys kind of like, it's perfectly carved wooden stake. But Nandor confesses he's not there to kill anybody.
Because he had a talk with his friend Patton Oswalt, who's no longer with, who suddenly passed away, is what he said. And then of course like Guillermo's kind of just sitting there like, Patton Oswalt, like, what are you talking about? So he goes, how do I know if you're lying to me? And he's like, I'm not lying. And he like swears in Persian and on his warrior's oath and says, you can kill me, you know, if I am lying. And he's not lying because he did it. Because he was friends with Patton Oswalt, who is now no longer with us.
Right. And he felt that made him feel bad. And now he realizes he would feel bad if he killed Guillermo, just like he felt bad when he killed Patton Oswalt. So his love of Guillermo, or, you know, love is maybe a strong word, I don't know, but his love of Guillermo is stronger than his pride, basically. So, but the cool, now, maybe I should have seen this one coming, but it is revealed that the reason Guillermo didn't fully turn is his Van Helsing blood.
Yeah, oh yeah, they mentioned that back in the cages, but
Right.
But it was, this is also another shot where it's like they give Nandor like the heads up, because he wasn't involved with trying to fix Guillermo for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah, that was
but
Laszlo.
Were he to have been asked if in a hypothetical situation this would happen, he would say, oh, well, somebody like Guillermo, for instance, he knows from vampire, you know,
right,
science.
he knows right away. It's like nothing.
He's like,
well,
oh yeah, because he has a Van Helsing
Yeah.
blood. Those blood cells are fighting the vampire ones off.
Right. I mean, and like it's kind of like, oh,
And everyone goes, oh,
you know, yeah, like it makes perfect sense. Why didn't we think of this?
yeah.
And we should have seen it coming as people who talk about this show every week.
Right.
It's all right. You know. So they have different sort of plans here, like to try and get this thing. One thing they say, okay, if you drink human blood, then you will be fully turned. So they go to this restaurant and they just kill everybody. Even Colin Robinson.
After they gave him, remember I was talking about the feeding, and I was like, they must have had like a keg of blood around. So they had they when they're in the house still, Nandor pours Guillermo a glass of blood, and it kind of like it really energizes him. He floats up, grows fans, and he kind of does the like Thor coffee cup thing and throws it. He's like, another, and then he's like, and he kind of like zips around the house, and Colin Robinson goes, "Wow, just one sip of that human blood, and he's like Cornholio over here."
Cornholio. What a.
But yeah, then they go to the restaurant, which is like which is like a Italian restaurant where you would have spaghetti and red sauce,
Yeah.
But there's a different kind of red sauce in this vampire one.
Yeah, I know. This is like as bloody as the show has been in a while, where they
finally I get all my vampire stuff basically in these last 2 episodes.
Yeah, right. This is you've been watching all those vampire movies. This is it. But I love even Colin Robinson just talks a person to death, right? Like I mean, like
he's like, how do you become a billionaire? It's like be a millionaire and buy a winery. And then he says something like,
"No, I think it's the other way around. I think it's how do you become a millionaire, be a billionaire, buy or something, right? Wasn't that the other way around? I don't remember. Maybe you're right.
I think
it's like a money losing. I think because you
no, it's a money making.
All right. Maybe you're right.
I know I'm right. Yours doesn't make any sense.
No, because it's a money losing proposition. That's what makes it funny.
Wineries make money.
I'm gonna look this up right now.
Just look it up because yours isn't funny that way. It's not funny.
It's totally funny. It's funny.
No.
How do you become a millionaire? Joke. What's the fastest way to become this is Reddit.
A billionaire.
No, I don't think that was it. I think it was millionaire because then you lose. You know what I mean? Like, forget it. It doesn't matter. The point is he talks this person to death.
And then he says, what's the life expectancy of a sommelier?
Well, but so the point is Guillermo can't do it. He can't bring himself to like
kill.
Yeah.
Actual human.
On a human, right. And because he smells the guy's shampoo or something. He's like, the guy just put that shampoo on. He didn't know he was gonna die today,
He's like, he was just at CVS one day smelling all the shampoo.
Right.
Decided I want this one because it reminds me of when I went camping as a kid. And he cries and runs away, but he's like, I can't do this anymore. He takes his mic pack off, and Nandor was in the shadows the whole time. And he heard this confession.
Yeah.
And he's like,
I love this. First of all, I love the CVS name drop there too. By the way. Like CVS is like I love that. I shop at CVS.
You love CVS. You're a top saver.
Almost daily. I'm gonna say this right now. This is not a lie or an exaggeration, but I got a thing in the mail from CVS that said I was in the top 2% of savers.
Wow.
I say more.
You don't get stuff just delivered to your house like everybody else.
I've done that. No, I've done that. But I mean,
what are you buying in there?
Cereal. I'm buying a lot of cereal.
It's a lot of cereal.
Yeah, all right. They have the best deals on cereal. I have cereal every morning. Just
good for you.
Yeah, I have cereal, and like not like
the cheap stuff
style. No, I mean I get whatever's on sale at CVS. Really is what I get, and they have the best deal. So, anyways, sidebar. But yeah, so he can't bring himself to do it, and so now they have a problem. Like, what are they going to do? He can't become a full vampire, and then he kind of realizes he doesn't know if he wants to be a vampire. That's basically the what comes out of this.
And Nandor overhears this, and he's just like, I knew it. I knew that he wasn't ready. So in a way, you kind of think, like maybe. Honestly, the 13 years is a long time for Guillermo, but Nandor was waiting for him to actually be ready because he's his mentor. He's his vampire, almost his familiar. He will make him a vampire. Maybe once he gets like a new familiar that he likes, or that he thinks that Guillermo's ready to do it. And he's just like I suspected. Not saying like anything that like bad against Guillermo, just he's not ready yet. I know this because I'm his like father figure.
Yeah, after the whole, it almost like redeems Nandor, right? Because this whole time you think he doesn't like, he was just ignoring him and ignoring his wishes, but he knew he wasn't
But
ready.
for the vampires, 13 years isn't a long time.
That's true. That's another point. Yeah, that we don't really bring up. But yeah, the vampires, that's nothing. You know, they live forever. So they have this idea now to have this sort of ceremony. Well, first, this is another great. And Nandor takes out his little like, I forget what it's called now, like the thing, and he brings the gin out.
Oh yeah.
You
Well,
know?
also yeah. Okay, I wanted to talk about this because when we were talking earlier about the reset, and then we've been talking all season about our predictions, and I think both of our predictions was they're going to do a reset, right? Like, how are they going to do it? And one of the things that I said earlier on was like, you know, he doesn't have any wishes left, but I bet whatever solution they come up with to get Guillermo back to human is going to have to do something with magic or maybe the gin. And like that was kind of like a fake out, like how they like brought him back, and then it basically said, you know, you don't have any wishes left.
Yeah.
And he's like, have you just been carrying me around? Because Nandor has him like on his
I know, he
tape.
just kind of takes it out. Yeah. It's so funny. I know, because he's like, you know, like he's almost like, you know, you don't have any wishes. You know, it's like, what are you talking about? So that just cracked me up.
And then he's like, okay, time to go back in the lamp. And the djinn is like, can I just like stretch my legs for a little bit? And Nandor says, I wish I could help you. And Jin goes, oh, that's very funny.
I know, it is a fun little like quick brief cameo. But
I wish I could help you.
Yeah.
Because he has no wishes. That's why it's funny.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I wish I could help you. And it's classic. So yeah, they have this idea now to do this sort of ceremony. And they have Derek there, and if Guillermo kills him, then the vampire, because if you kill the person who, as we brought up earlier, if you kill the person who turned you, then you would die. But in Guillermo's case, it would just, I guess he said you would age really quick a month, right?
Yeah, he's like, he's like, no, I think because of his blood or something, he's like, no, all that would happen to you is that you go back to where you were before, but you would age a month very quickly.
Basically, you'd age a month very quickly, yeah. So like there's this whole ceremony. We see the Baron is there. I mean, the Sire is there, and Baron Apanas, I should say, the Baron. And it's like a whole thing, but Guillermo can't do it. He's too good. You know, he's still so good. You can't kill Derek. So Nandor does it for him. He just stabs him. And then Guillermo is just a normal human again.
But he has aged a month. He has a beard, and he can't see. So this is another cute thing, because he's like, Guillermo had got glasses that, because it was like the Spider-Man thing, it like being a vampire fixes vision. So he was like, oh, I need my old glasses back. And Nandor had been carrying them around with him. Here you go. And just hands it to him.
True, that is nice. Oh. But that was all also kind of a ruse, right? Because they leave Guillermo to take care of the body. And Laszlo's like, here, I'll help you out, kid. I kind of like Laszlo's like, yeah, I'll help you out, Gizmo.
Yeah, right.
Laszlo hasn't had a lot to do these last 2 episodes, but he had the fencing scene, and now he has this. And they take him to Benedict Wong, who was, I mean, this is going back. Right.
Early season.
Romancer.
Right.
And I was like,
jazz.
oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah, so Wallace the necromancer. And so they're gonna turn him into it. They turn him into a zombie. First, they have to pay him all the money that Guillermo paid Derek, which he only spent $250 on vampire clothes and Hot Topic, which I thought was a great
Yeah.
Hot
Yeah,
Topic.
all of the money that from Nadja's nightclub is now it's in the hands of minus $270.
Yeah.
Because Derek had no use for the money.
Yeah, what do they care about money? Yeah. But I love that they name drop Hot Topic.
Derek had a job anyways. He was,
That's
like,
true, he
working
did. Working in the
yeah,
convenience
he's probably paying probably doing like all just regular human stuff, like literally like not even realizing what an advantage it is to be a vampire with a bunch of cash.
like regular human bartender, but he was regular human convenience store worker. But yeah, so they give it all, and he comes back as a zombie, but he can't really talk. And then we get another like deep cut guest appearance.
Yep.
Haley Joel Osment shows. I was like, who the fuck is that? Rachel was like, oh my god, it's Topher. It's Haley Joel Osment. I completely forgot that whole thing.
From the back. They buried him in the backyard, I think.
Yeah, now he's like, he's a zombie and he's all cool with it. He's like, yeah, man, it takes a while to learn how to like talk.
Yeah, he like is talking regular, and he's like, we take the tourists for an arm and a leg, huh? He keeps making these jokes about how he just reattached his arm.
I know, it's so funny that he's just back. He's like, oh, hey, like, what's going on?
So it's kind of like in a way about like the Guillermo creatures, like it's like it's almost like the show is like almost PG at times, you know what I mean? It's like no one like Derek doesn't really die. He just gets to go live like with the zombies and Topher and Benedict Wong, and like he's still around, don't worry. I mean, I kind of like, even though like I say that just as what like we saw that Patton Oswalt was like cold-blooded killed, and they can't really go back on that because I mean they can do whatever they want, of course, but like you know, that was like a character, like you said, like it has heart. It's like character defining for Nandor, who's only known and been friends with Patton Oswalt for like 30 minutes. He's like, I didn't feel good to lose a friend like that. You know what I mean? So they kind of have to keep him dead, you know? But
sure, probably.
But you know, like just for now at least. Like, you know. But this whole other thing is very much like, go live with the island of misfit, you know, zombies down there. You're fine. And like the creatures will live at the nursing home and hide when people come in or whatever. You know, who's gonna believe the Alzheimer's people anyway? So what you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, that's what it is. Even though it's a vampire show, I think it's like not only for the comedy, but yeah, it's not.
You don't want to kill Derek, even though he's an idiot. You know, he's like a lovable idiot.
Right. And it would have been fine if they did, right? Like, who would have cared? You know, but it's a nice sort of happy like way, like a send off.
And Laszlo's into it. Maybe it was even Laszlo's idea. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
He took him to Benedict Wong.
Because it's also something you don't exactly want to tell Nandor after Nandor just did this whole thing. You know what I mean?
Right. But even so, Nandor only did that for Guillermo because he knew he didn't want to be a vampire. And you can't really live half and half, right? Like, you have to be one or the other. So, yeah, and it's funny, right? How they kind of have this happy ending thing going with, like, you know, like, and they even go back and show you what happened to Haley Joel Osment. Like, nobody really, I mean, people die, I guess, but nobody really ends up in a bad place, I suppose. It is kind of a PG ending in a way, you know. And I guess we don't know what happened to the guy. Maybe, I guess they just forgave her, like you said. But
yeah, they ultimately did forgive her because, and I was thinking about that a lot. But they actually literally forgive her, like in the dialogue of that episode, the last one, because they're like, oh, you know, Nandor's like, forgive and forget, like, you know, it's all good, you know, like you did this all, and instead of just having a small conversation about our feelings, and she's like, yeah, I guess I did, and they all kind of like like old sitcom like that would just cut away like where everyone's laughing like ha 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 ha. You know,
Yeah,
kind of do that. They kind of like, oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. We do that to
well,
everybody.
that's I think that's kind of what it is, and we talked in the previous episode, I think, about like the comedy influences, and you can see them very clearly. And this is kind of like a Simpsons, like it, sort of like when we'll never speak of it again, kind of like,
And
you know
we
what I mean?
never did. Yeah,
And
yeah.
never did. Yeah, like, it is kind of like the way that the show is going, and I have no problem
Because the
with that. I
guy
think
is
it's funny.
totally in with them by the end of this second episode. You know, it's just like hanging
Right.
out in the living room. You know, she has her own chair. You know what I mean?
Well, it didn't. Wait, what? Oh no, it was Colin Robinson who didn't want to give up his chair.
Yeah, because Guillermo was
Guillermo
gonna be, yeah,
became a
and that was even something that Nadja said when she's like, "Oh, I didn't know like we didn't know that he's gonna be a vampire and live here. Like, where the fuck is he gonna sleep? Like, God,
Yeah, right.
I would have said just kill him anyways."
But like, yeah, like I kind of like the whole like happy ending thing. I know I said earlier that I didn't like it when they went over the like into the next season, but I don't mind this happy ending thing that they got going on here because it is pretty. The only difference, to me, I guess this is a big change. Like Guillermo now doesn't have that desire, right, to be a vampire because he knows
Yeah,
he doesn't want it.
yeah, he did it for a little while, and he knows he
Yeah.
can't kill people.
He knows he can't kill people, so he would never be able to feed, and he would, eventually die. But I think it'll just add a little wrinkle to next season, hopefully. Like that. Okay, like now I'm still your familiar, and I have Van Helsing blood, but he doesn't have that like, oh, you're not gonna make me a vampire anymore kind of thing going. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But yeah, it'll be a while.
Yeah, it'll be a while. So yeah, we'll have to conclude our season with some final thoughts. Final thoughts on the season. Final thoughts on these two episodes in relation to the season.
This final episode I thought was very good. This is one of the better ones they've ever done. I think there were two. What was the other one? Was it the roast? Was that the one
The roast, yep.
that I thought was one of the better ones they've ever done? So like they've had two really classics, like, and I mean like tippity top, best of all time classics this season. All of them are funny, right? I mean, in their own level, but the roast one was great, and this last one was great. The Morrigan Manor one was also very funny, but that I feel like showing them or releasing them twice, back to back, almost makes you look past the other one. You know what I mean? Like I just want to see what the finale is going to be. So
Right.
nothing wrong with it. It was funny, but
It's more like an hour-long episode than,
right.
it's almost like
I agree.
comics. You got to ignore the like issue numbers now because they don't mean anything. It's like this was an
Right.
hour long, or like British TV when it's like Sherlock. It's like there's 4 episodes in this season, but one's 45 minutes long and the other one is 3 hours long. Like what?
Right.
Okay, whatever.
And just tell the story, how long as it takes to tell the story. So there were some great ones this season, though. The whole Colin Robinson running for office one was great.
The Pride one. They were all.
Yeah.
I would have to say that if I look at these two episodes as sort of 1 hour of TV, I like this one a lot because of the vampire lore stuff and stuff I've been thinking about. Like, not that they answered all my questions, but just they kind of like did a little bit more vampire stuff, like I was saying. I mean, that like I don't think that this was like the best episode this season for the finale, but there was a lot going on with it, and I liked the roast. I like the completely absurdly funny ones a little bit more than this one was. It's not like I don't like it, but it was like in the flavor of what we do in the shadows, what it gives us. This one had all the drama in it, whereas like some were just funny,
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of shows have those sort of like, I think the X-Files kind of started this, or at least that kind of made it like episodes that contribute to the mythology, right? And then there were some just sort of what they call a monster of the week or whatever, right?
Right,
Where
right, right.
They were just kind of episodes that you could just watch single or,
But all of these episodes did build on. They showed part of, like even in the roasts, like that thing I was saying about the guy telling the Baron, like,
Right.
that leads up to these two episodes in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
But in a way that I didn't connect before until like tonight. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's just like there was a lot of this drama and great drama, great season.
I thought it was great. Yeah,
Great season.
It was great. And we'll see where they
Probably I mean, I don't know. I've never like really ranked the seasons, but I think it always does get better. This is a great season of what we do in the shadows. It's in the top 5. They all get better. They all get better. They all get better.
I agree.
I almost want to say, you know what I mean? Like this season as a whole is fucking great.
I think
last season was great fucking too, though.
It's good, but yeah, I think the more you get to know the characters, and then the more guest stars they can have because they're more you know what I mean? Like it's
and the more of the reset, I think actually is kind of, like this year we had a different Guillermo. Last year we had a different Colin Robinson. But
right.
But when they are just themselves, it's the best. So a nice clean reset here at the end. Good. Love it.
Yeah, like I think we've said this before. Like I like when every character has something to do, and it's
yeah, and if we thought that they were ignoring the guy, they kind of weren't. They were like,
well, that was a setup.
Yeah, it was a setup. Yeah.
For this last episode 9. Yeah, it's I don't know. I like the ones that tell. I like what you're saying about some episodes are just absurd comedy and they have nothing to do with anything, and some of them build towards another show, and I like them all. Now, normally we see. I think last season we already knew that it had been renewed for a 5th season,
and we know that now too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With the strike, I wasn't sure if that was.
No, it got renewed a little while ago. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait.
Yeah, but we will have to wait.
But we'll have to.
But you know what? Maybe we'll do a Patreon exclusive or something. Like I was thinking, like we could do maybe sometime like after we're like really missing this, we can either do like the student film What We Do in the Shadows, or maybe we could do the movie, or maybe we could do an episode of maybe just watch the first episode of Wellington Paranormal. Just to tide us over the Vampire Council in the writer's strike.
Yeah,
might have to.
It might have to, but well, we'll see. We've got other stuff going on though. We have a Curbcast and we have our regular League podcast. It's all at leaguepodcast.com or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast.
Vampcouncil.com is where you find everything related to this show here and our Facebook group. And so if we are concluding and we're taking a little break from this, from this show, please, listen to us on Spotify if you can. But also, it's been great if people just tune into the show. We're so glad that we have fans that share the What We Do in the Shadows podcast with. And we appreciate everybody that chimes in the Facebook group and everything.
Yeah, that's true. We've got some people out there that chime in and on YouTube as well. So thanks. Thanks to you, as we like to say.
And then we can't forget that you can still be a part of the show if you email us bat@vampcouncil.com, and we will put your 321-BAT in with, maybe a special episode next time. So if you send it in, we'll have it ready to go. Our next episode of Vampire Council will definitely be in there.
Whenever that may be, we'll keep you saying bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, though, and thanks to you, Clay.
So let's do the countdown.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Bat!
Oh, I think we got that one.
We always got that one.
I know, but that one was boom. That was on.
All right, well, later, you fucks.
Later, you. Oh.
It's one of the hardest guitar pieces in the world to play.